What's good, fellow outcasts and other rejects? Welcome to WTC, the Anime Outcast. First off, if you're new here, we upload anime what-ifs based around My Hero and other shows alike. Secondly, did you know 80% of our audience isn't subscribed? So in order for us to continue to make good content, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Now without further ado, let's get into the video. Where we last left off, we followed both Izuku and Bakugo as they started their internship with Best Jeanist. During their first day, our protagonist would get a form of awakening when it came to the type of hero he wanted to be, setting his sights on becoming an Omni hero. But we only got about 2 days of internship before we move on to the League of Villains main base. We pick up with Stain and Shigaraki after their negotiation went south. The robot that sent the hero killer off the deep end lays on the floor and its limbs contorted in unnatural ways. As for Shigaraki, he kneels at the edge of Stain's sword, multiple gashes covering his body. But this does not mark the end of the rising symbol of evil as he grabs the former vigilante's sword by the blade. The weapon turns a revolting orange before fading away, allowing him to kick Stain back. Kurogiri attempts to calm the situation, somehow managing to get the hero killer to back off just for a second. But we're gonna leave the League's story alone for now as we move to our main character. Currently, Izuku is stationed in the Genius Agency's dormitory, more specifically in the common area. He is in a trendy table, fiddling with the Omnitrix. "How many do you think are in this thing?" the boy mutters loudly to Bakugo, who sat on the other side of the room on a long black couch watching something on the TV. "How the hell am I supposed to know? Denim for brains is too many yes men in here to count," the fellow intern shouts back, not in the mood for Deku's pointless questioning. No, I mean the watch. There's gotta be more than 12, Izuku says back to the irritated Bakugo. Right now, he'd rather be out in the city streets prowling for some wannabe villains to fight. But Best Jeanist ordered both of them to stay inside as he went for a nightly patrol. Bakugo turns off the TV and retreats to his quarters, fed up with Deku and the whole situation. Izuku follows a little later, going into his own room to sleep. It doesn't take long for the boy to doze off, falling into a dream world relatively fast. His brain starts perfectly replaying the day's events, up to when Izuku helped the Armadillo Kid get out of his shell. As he approaches the child in his Wrecking Bolt form, something odd happens. Instead of getting a look of pure awe, the boy merely just stares at his feet. When Izuku presses the matter, asking if he's alright, something else answers.
"Alright? How can I be alright when I'm some child's plaything?"
A monstrous voice echoes out in the kid's mouth as he finally looks up, revealing a singular purple eye on a vein-like track. Deku is startled by this sudden change, backpedaling away from the thing. But then, both Bakugo and Jeanist grasp him from behind, sporting their own singular purple eyes. What do you want?" A terrified Izuku roars back with his voice surprisingly sounding like his own. The ghost-infested kid just stares back, a rage festering in his eyes.
"I want out!"
he finally roars back, leaving Deku speechless. But then, strange gray fluids leak out of the faces of the three, leaving them nothing more than empty husks. The goo congregates around the child, forming an alien, Hibiki. "Out? That's why the watch has been acting weird, isn't it?" the trembling hero then mutters, frozen by fear. But the ghost doesn't answer back. It appears shocked by Izuku as he goes into a muttering fit. As he continues talking to himself, he starts stumbling backward until something large and robust blocks his path. Quickly turning behind him, he sees his Extramite form. His eyes are sunken back with purple irises and cracks lining them. The red Goliath also draws out a demented grin. But he isn't alone, as his other transformations come to join his twisted party, each one having the same messed up eyes. They quickly surround Izuku until he's back into a corner. With no other choice, the boy prepares himself for a fight, even though he knows Wrecking Bolt isn't strong enough to take on 11 of his aliens at once.
"You fool! I'm the one in control here!"
Hibiki hisses as Deku seemingly falls out of his transformation. Wrecking Bolt then begins to cry out in pain, the shared eyes forming on his own face as he joins the twisted group. He then awakens in a dark, gloomy alleyway, a far cry from the cozy room he was just seemingly in. His vision is blurry with his ears ringing with a painful static. As Izuku struggles to stand, he sees Bakugo running up to him in the near distance. Kachan! Where are we? He mutters, rubbing his eyes as he's still pretty dazed by his sudden awakening. Don't play coy! You're the dumbass who led us here! A raging Bakugo screams at the drowsy boy, sparking a weird interaction. Izuku asks how he could lead them here if he was asleep, but his response sends chills down his spine. Apparently, Izuku had to randomly transform into a spirit alien and just left. Bakugo decided to give chase after seeing the alien casually phase through his wall. The two stare at each other awkwardly, neither alibi making sense. But then, Deku notices cuts and bruises scattered along Bakugo's arms. He tries to speak up about the wounds, but Bakugo cuts him off. Look, let's get out of this dump! The other boy exclaims, something clearly wrong with him. But nonetheless, Deku agrees and the two start walking out of the alley. As they enter their ordinary city street, they find themselves in the bustling Hosu City. This surprises Izuku because their agency is a great distance away from here. Then, as they start their long trek back, the pair discuss Izuku's dream. From Hibuki's lust of freedom, to the way he seemingly had the other transformations on his side. So you got all your guys going against you because some ugly ghoul told them to? How the hell are they even sentient in that thing? Bakugo mutters, finding it hard to digest the situation. He knew something was up with Izuku's Hibiki transformation, but this takes a whole nother level. I don't think it's that simple. One of my heroes, Wrecking Bolt, cried out in pain before he turned against me. It's possible Hibiki messed with him or something. Izuku answers back, spiraling into one of his mumbling fits. He had three main questions from that dream. The main one being, are his forms really alive? His main reasoning for thinking this came from only how Hibiki acted strangely up till this point, and how the other forms didn't act independently. Next, he questions the morality of the situation. If his ghostly form is really trapped inside the watch, is it right to keep it locked within? But that brings another question to Izuku. What if he's locked in there for a reason? And lastly, why did the alien bring him to Hosu? That's something neither Bakugo nor Izuku could think of the answer for. There's no rhyme nor reason for Hibiki to want to come to here of all places. The two ponder that question until they come across a strange sight. Crowds of civilians run past them, screeching in fear as explosions wage in the distance. Izuku and Bakugo glare at each other, agreeing to find the source of panic without a single word. So they run in the opposite way in which the crowd is running, stopping at some sort of plaza. A Nomu-like creature rampaged through the area, with about a dozen pro-heroes attempting and failing to subdue it. Among the struggling pros, Izuku spots a certain water-based hero trying his hardest to put out all the fires caused by the monster. Wait, that's Manuel! The one Ida's supposed to be interning with! The green-haired boy sporadically exclaims, to which Bakugo asks who the hell even that is. With the two distractedly talking with each other, the hulking creature throws a car in their direction, causing an explosion. Then, the two snap back to reality as the surrounding heroes demand them to run. It's here Izuku makes a specific connection between Manuel, Hosu, Ida, and the hero killer. The changeling then goes rushing off, yelling for his friend to follow him quickly. The two go speeding through the city's dingy alleyways, with Izuku frantically looking for something, or rather someone. While on his search, he tries using the Omnitrix only to find out that it's still timed out, clearly showing something is wrong with it. Eventually, a blood-curdling scream echoes through the maze of passages, the two heroes sprinting to the source. A man cloaked in crimson, plunging his blade into the back of Tenya Ida. Straight away, the two boys jump into action. Bakugo blasts himself at the hero killer, forcing him back. His very presence angers him. Though he had hoped to spend the night fighting villains, he hadn't hoped for it to be like this. As for Izuku, he waits for his teammate to get Stain off of Ida, so he can assess his injuries. Needless to say, they were critical. Midoriya! What are you doing? The speedster tries to mutter, teetering on death's door, but Izuku doesn't answer. Instead, he looks for a way to help his friend. He can't just remove the katana embedded in his back. That would only make the bleeding worse. As for Bakugo, he started brewing an explosion in both hands as he flies above Stain, seeing his twisted face. To his surprise, the hero killer goes to take the blast head on, warning Bakugo something's wrong, so he blasts himself over Stain and behind him, seeing it as the right call. So, you're the kid who triumphed in that festival. I admire your power, but your attitude, your goal, it's the very thing I'll purge from this sinful society. The killer monologues as he stealthily prepares another blade. Then, he throws the knife straight behind him without even looking, getting Izuku in the shoulder. Shit! Bakugo roars, seeing the boy drop. In this area, the Explosion King is at a massive disadvantage. Going all out would only end up killing the surrounding heroes and causing a senseless collateral damage. But weaker explosions wouldn't be enough to take down the hero killer either. Being momentarily distracted by his hurt friend, it allows Stain to get in close and slash at Bakugo.
You've got good friends, Ingenium. I'll give you that. But their meddling in your pointless crusade will lead to their deaths.
Stain pridefully exclaims, brandishing another rustic sword to fight the blonde bombardment. With the ping of the Omnitrix, Izuku forces himself up, popping the dial in the process. Right now, all he wants to do is go extra mite and tear apart the hero killer for what he's done. But then his master's words echo through his head. He takes a quick look at Ida, with an idea sparking within him. So at that, he scrolls past his Tetraman form and goes into someone different. As he transforms, both Stain and Bakugo are too enthralled in their conflict to turn their attention to it. The Crimson Killer manages to get multiple cuts and gashes into Bakugo of various sizes throughout their clash. This leaves the young hero at the mercy of Stain as he finally gets to ingest some of the blood, paralyzing him. Then, as he prepares to smite down Bakugo with one final strike, they briefly lock eyes. Even though the boy is merely seconds away from meeting his end, his eyes still burn with a passion none could match. But Stain's were sunken with the intensity of a madman. With his blade inches away from Bakugo's flesh, something catches his attention from behind, causing him to jump back. Then, Ida somehow goes speeding past his fellow student and discharges a powerful kick upon the villain, sending him skidding down the alleyway.
What? Hello!
Bakugo tries to yell before he notices something strange about the speedster. His suit had suddenly gained a slick black and green paint job, with his leg-mounted engines doubling in size. I'm guessing it's the hero killer's quirk that got you stuck in place. Crap. It's just like what the news reports thought his quirk was. Deku mutters from within Ida's armor. He melded with the hero's costume, and partly with his quirk thanks to his technopath hero Overdrive. Then, a small antenna-like device rises out of Ida's shoulder, causing a message to be cast through the city to every device in it. From their exact location to the hero killer's quirk, everything Izuku knows is broadcasted. With Stain now forced onto a timetable, he stumbles his way back to the fight, staring down Izuku with a particular gaze.
You. I see why he wanted you dead so bad.
Stain groans as he pulls out another blade from his seemingly endless collection. This takes Deku aback, wondering who he is. But none of that matters now. Only the villain that's in front of him. With their combined engines screaming green fire, the upgraded Ingenium shoots forward. The two start pummeling Stain with maxed out blows. That isn't their only attack form, as Overdrive can blast Stain with his eye-based lasers. On top of that, Izuku can manifest above Ida, adding his fist's stretchy range to the fight. Of course, that's disregarding all the potential machines he could craft through Ida's armor. Once Bakugo's paralysis wears off, the two finish the fight with one joint attack. As the battle now passed its climax, the two conscious students go quiet as they stare at Stain's broken body. Izuku thinks he might have gone a little too far, but at the same time, Ida's life was on the line. After a few seconds of silence, a shooting star streaks across the night sky before crashing down into the alleyway. From the flames, out steps Endeavour, the number 2 hero. Midoriya then extends himself over to the pro hero and starts over-explaining the situation. At first, Endeavour goes to incinerate the liquid metal creature that got up in his face until he recognizes the voice. He vaguely remembered Izuku's voice from the festival and his symbol in which he saw on Ida's leg armor. Thanks again to the Outcasts and Rejects for watching the end of this video. If this video gets 80 likes in 2 weeks, we'll continue this series. Other than that, if you have any questions about the series or channel, sound off in the comments or feel free to join our Discord.